Hi everyone. I did make a recording of a dovetail box few days back. I thought like before up trying to upload few more projects that I have been working on. I just wanted to give like a short introduction video, like why, like how did I get into hand tool woodworking, and like of course I'm like I really enjoy it so much. I'm not good at recording, so I'm trying to get there. This is needed. I'm trying to do my best with my limited like setup that I have to put some recording just by myself over using a phone. I just invested in a microphone and all. But yeah, to like I started hand tool woodworking like a couple of years back, like around that, maybe little over that. It all started like I had absolutely no idea about hand tool woodworking. I mean, of course, I knew there is hand tool woodworking, but no way I could imagine that even I could do something with that. Thanks to Paul Sellers mainly for like making me believe in myself. But I will come to that. Like I cannot thank him enough. But just to step back, like how when it all started, like it all started with like we moved to this new house. It's a very small one with a like a two-car garage technically, but it's barely like one car. I wanted to build like some garage shelves, like using 2x4s. Um, yeah, I just bought a drill, like a new drill and driver and some screws, and even that aspect was like I really enjoyed that. I watched a few videos and started building on that. I could not even cross cut properly. So what did I do? I saw a few videos. Okay, I need a miter saw. I bought a miter saw. By the way, here are some bullet points so that I don't forget. Then I like even actually before the miter saw, I think I bought a circular saw to begin with. And circular saw, I didn't set it up properly. Even the cross cuts didn't come out proper. I thought, oh, maybe I need something better. Circular saw is just makeshift. I actually invested on a table saw first. It's a good table saw, and I started learning the safety aspects of table saw. Then this saw shop vac because like dust collection is needed. Uh, and then table saw really helped me. I didn't have those jigs like crosscut sled and all initially, so I thought like, okay, how do I cut miters quickly? Okay, I bought a miter saw. That was a rabbit hole. Like I bought a jigsaw. Like I need to cut curves, and then those grooves. I bought a router, good ones I have. So all those things, like and then I would say I was still enjoying that. It's not that I didn't enjoy, but yeah, I didn't know about hand tool woodworking. And then I thought I would make some more projects for my home. I need a workbench to do the work. So I started looking at some videos like simple workbench, and I started building on one. Uh, by the way, I didn't know about Paul Sellers then. While I was working on that, I saw that I needed to do some like mortise and tenon joints. Um, by the way, I also bought a thickness planer. So power tools, like I had so many. Um, not that I was using all of those, but yeah, power planer I was using. For my workbench, I actually used the power planer to mostly plane those things. So yeah, mortise and tenon joints, how to do those using power tools. I started searching over YouTube. I came across one video, like I didn't even know he was that famous. Paul Sellers video where he shows like how to chop a mortise and tenon, showing like using a mortise chisel and a bevel edge chisel, and he put that a plexiglass or a glass in front and shows how it works. Man, for some reason I found that like so much informative, and like the honesty with which he presented, and felt like he really wanted, like the only thing he wanted through that video is to just uh, let us know the beauty of that art and make us believe in ourselves that we can do that. I watched that many times, and I tried to give it a shot. I'm absolute beginner. I tried to chop the mortise and tenon for these legs and all for the workbench. If I can just focus, this is the workbench. I have very simple, like, but these are all 2x4s. Uh, the legs I have like mortise and tenon. Nothing is like glued here other than the laminated top. So I tried with like some like on spare piece of pine and all. It didn't come out good, and I was too concerned that I may not be able to do it properly. So I pulled out my router, all the mortises here on this table are done using the router, power router, I mean. But the tenons, I still had could gather the courage to do using like a hand saw. I had a Japanese pull saw, uh, like the use and throw one kind of this. This is one of the ones I had initially invested, because everywhere in the video I saw like people saying that this is easier for beginners than the other one. So I just went by that. Not that I knew anything. I mean, took a lot of time, but it came out just fine. Yes, I did had a few nicks in my hand and all, but then I saw the video where Paul Sellers, like he has built a workbench, the very one of his very initial workbench build videos. Had I seen that before, probably I would have built a workbench purely based on his model, because I liked it so much. But by that time, I had already invested so much on this workbench that I just went with it. Maybe someday I will definitely build that one uh, when I build the next workbench. But this has been working very well. The few things like, but then I was like moving towards hand tool woodworking. Like that was it. Like I was really starting to enjoy like using hand tools, like cutting the tenons by hand. Maybe the next step was to chop mortises. I had that in mind. Um, what I did followed from Paul Seller's video was like how to put a draw bore, mortise and tenon joint. So all my mortise and tenon joints here are draw bore thing. So I used I bought this like DFM dowel plate, which actually like I could make my own dowels. Like the more things that you could make by your own hand instead of buying dowels, I used this dowel plate. It came out perfectly nice, and I was very happy with that. Like everything I made by hand, it was so much more fun and enjoyable. So yeah, that aspect. So and then I installed this bench wise. This is purely based on Paul Seller's video. Like I invested on one. This is a second hand, like a used one that I got from Amazon, sold by Amazon, and I got it at a very good deal. Like he recommends like 9 inches more than enough, but this is a 10-inch one which I got cheaper than the. So why not? So I got this one. It has a little bit of issue, but it has worked for me perfectly, like for 2 years, still going strong. Yeah, and then my okay, then after the workbench, actually, I thought I should give my hand on some like some pure hand tool projects. So what? Which one should I target first? I like the small projects that I watched a lot of videos where Paul Sellers like shows how to make small boxes and all dovetail boxes, and a lot of videos, power tool videos also. I seem to see that they're saying that making dovetails is like the pinnacle of like hand tool woodworking. That's what they said. I'm like, and I didn't know anything about dovetails before that. I thought like maybe if I could conquer like making my own dovetails, if I could make decent dovetails, maybe I can do anything. That was my initial impression. And I started watching Paul Seller's videos for like making small boxes and all. I made a couple of like initial like very simple dovetail boxes, and for my level they come out really good, really good. I was so happy and so excited that this is it. I am going to get into these things. So I have a few dovetail boxes I gifted to my wife, and later on I made a few more, gifted to like kids, like my son's friends and some other kids and all. So they were very happy with that. Uh, um, then what? Like I thought like what is the next great joinery, or like the fundamental joinery, mortise and tenon. That is what I was truly scared about when I was trying to make this workbench. So I looked through simpler projects. Again, from Paul Sellers. At that time, a lot of like his videos were also freely available on YouTube. I think they still are. One of the simpler projects I found was the sofa server, and he also mentions that this is a pretty simple project to start with, but it has a couple of important fundamental joineries. The mortise and tenon, it has a couple of mortise and tenon joints. It has some dovetails. I was not scared of dovetails any longer. But yeah, I did make mistakes and I was improving. I was enjoying making dovetails. It had a couple of mortise and tenon joints, and also like it had like housing dados. So yeah, it's a very good project for a beginner, like absolute beginner, and I made that with Cherry. Came out super good. So every stage I am learning, and then came like okay, my next project, I want to make something big. um, I made the bedside cabinet that Paul Sellers recommends. So sorry, Paul Sellers House of Furniture videos. I really like that model. By the way, in between, like because I like dovetails, I built a few drawers and all for my home also in the garage workshop and all. I upgraded some of my cabinets to have drawers where they had like just shelves and all. All those dovetails came out very good. Um, and every subsequent attempt was better than the last one. Remember, by this time I have almost stopped using table saws and all. So I did use them for dimensioning, like initial dimensioning, but I was not liking using the table saw that much because of the dangers associated with it. I mean, that's a very like very accurate machine and all, no doubt about that. And I was making projects not for business or anything. I'm just for myself for true enjoyment. And I have a little one also. He's now 5, but he was 3 and all. Sometimes he wanted to come and join me in the garage. So power tools were not the right thing for me, really. So yeah, the next big project was the bedside cabinet with lot of mortise and tenon joints, and they came out very good. Like I just watched Paul Sellers videos time and again, time and again. I also built this simple like mortising jig that he has. So I made like I started with just using plywood for the entire thing, but then I made one using a brass plate so that it can serve me for. You'll see me use this for like all of my mortise and tenon joints. They came out very good. Not saying that I didn't mess up few joineries. Like I was like sometimes they were too tight, and I was trying to force those in, uh, and they cracked. The mortise piece, especially when there is a mortise and tenon towards the center, it's usually like you can get away with a little bit extra tight, even though you want it to fit snug and tight, but not so tight that you're going to rip it apart. But that will be more resistance if it is this way than this way, because there is a small section here. If it is too tight, then this is going to crack, and it has happened to me a couple of times. The fact that I have used premium hardwood, like I didn't like the idea of wasting wood, like just going to so if I can salvage that, I tend to prefer that. So I have used dowels or something just to clamp it and live with that, and it will still stay long and it's fine. Like one or two joints, if they have cracked, I've learned from it, and it doesn't impact the structural integrity as much. At least for me, and they have worked perfectly, and I've just gone with that. I then built the corner desk that Paul Sellers corner desk, because my wife wanted a workbench, a desk for working, and that came out super good. I think out of all the mortise and tenon joints, and only one had a minor crack, and I made it up with a small like a dowel. Um, I mean, if you look at the project, you won't be able to find unless you are Paul Sellers, I guess. Then what? Like, and by this time, like I had packed off like the uh, no using of the table saw. I never use a router like because I don't use plywood and all. It's all hand tool, so I prefer using solid wood. The router plane is never used. I don't even have router bits. I only have one bit that I used at some point for building this workbench, but I've never used the power router. Tables I have stopped using. Power planer I do use, like if I have to dimension too many pieces of wood, even though I want to get rid of that. Uh, like yeah, that's one thing. What I did then was like I had a miter saw. I never used that. I built like the this one the shooting board, again as per Paul Sellers plan. Uh, so where like this thing is wedged across. This came out so good. Like I can like I can make accurate like cuts even better than miter saw, I should say, if my plane is sharp and all. So I really liked it. So that made the miter saw, like power miter saw, really redundant for me. So I sold that one off actually, because I could make like cross cuts like very quick and make it accurate. And then I also made this um, end grain wise that Paul Sellers does. So it is way faster to cut 90-degree miters, 90-degree cuts, like cross cuts, and smoothen those using this, because the position is just so good. So I use this one a lot, like almost like 90% of the time, if not more. Um, what else? Yeah, and for chisel sharpening and all, I built this. I invested in diamond stones. I think DMT, Diasharp, and I built this stand as per again Paul Sellers uh, model. I think the diamond plates are coming out. That's fine. So and even though like I had invested on a couple of like uh, strops that I had bought from market, but when I saw how easy it was to make, I stopped using that. I made one myself using a piece of plywood, and this is a piece of scrap leather, and I always use that. Something I could make by myself is so much enjoyable. So this is my sharpening system. I started with like um, with a Veritas like honing guide, uh, and I wouldn't say that that is anything wrong. So I use that. At least I got to know like what are the angles and all, how sharp I could make like the feel of the angle and everything. So it gave me a good understanding. But then I felt like obviously I had to learn freehand sharpening because it's so quick. Sharpening should be a habit. That's what I learned from Paul Sellers, meaning like we should not defer sharpening because of any reason. I'm working on something. Okay, I feel the chisel is not sharp. I go to the sharpening station. That should be quick. Setting up a honing guide and all that will indirectly uh, like push me to delay sharpening by some time, because I have to do some work to go there. So that's the main reason. So I started doing freehand sharpening, and also I watched a few videos from James Wright from the Wood by Wright channel. He is also a person who is very dedicated to hand tool woodworking. I did learn a lot from him also. Shout out to him. Um, so yeah, I have like now I have been like 90% doing freehand sharpening, all my chisels and all. I do struggle with the short plane blades because I do have a Veritas low angle jack plane. I do struggle to sharpen freehand, but I still do it. Uh, the vintage ones I have like a now Stanley number 4, a number 5, 4.5, 5.5. Those are the ones I actually like the most. One thing I wanted to tell you, like when I started like looking for vintage planes, I had very less idea. So the first vintage plane I bought was actually this number 4. Actually, like this is not a very good, like this is not the best plane, I would say, if that's the right word. I don't want to be disrespectful to the brand, but I didn't know much about it. This has this plastic knob. I don't know whether it was retrofitted or it came out like that. I then realized like I paid more for it also. I wouldn't say the price. I didn't know anything. I thought I got a very good plane. I paid more for it, and I then realized this is like a World War II model. I think it does have vintage value, but at that time, like Stanley was cutting down on the prices, like replacing brass with something else. Also, this frog doesn't have that adjuster and all. So I was not very pleased with this one. I was disappointed. I didn't know much to set up planes, and also I gave up on that for some time, and then got another one. Uh, and this one was very good. And I mostly use this one. If you see, like this has a different uh, tote or handle. What happened was that when I was trying to restore it, fettling with it, I actually dropped this, and I think I over tightened this one, and I dropped it on the floor, and this broke. I was so heartbroken. I broke a vintage tote. Maybe it was rosewood or something. I don't know, like something. What do I do? I spent so much on this one. What do I do? And then I started watching like videos from Paul Sellers where you can make it by your own hand. I was not too confident I could do it, but then I spent time, and eventually I could come up with this one. Did it come out perfect? No. This is more bulkier than I would have imagined, but it works just fine for me. More importantly, I made it myself out of ash. The color looks like not matching, but okay, that probably gives it a like has my signature on it in a way, and I have used it for so many projects. I'm super happy with that. Now I'm not scared that if something goes wrong, I can build one more actually. So yeah, this is my smoothing plane, and then I went back to this one, like this plane that I don't like, which is like a seemed a poorer quality. I thought like Paul Sellers has a few videos where he converts his number 4 into a scrub plane. So why can't I do that? So I actually tried doing that on this one, and this is my scrub plane, which works really good. Um, so again, the blade has a big round or camber. I invested on a grinder bench, slow speed bench grinder, by the way, for mainly for restoration and this kind of thing where I have to grind too much. I don't use that for regular sharpening. So these are some of my dovetail boxes I just wanted to show. Out of the regular ones, this is like a organizer that I did based on Paul Sellers like model. So I just wanted to show. I have many more at home and gifted some, as I said. I had invested on a Veritas router plane, which is really good, no doubt about that. But then I saw Paul Sellers showing how to build a router plane by yourself. I actually bought the router plane kit because I realized, like, if I want to get into more, probably it's not a bad idea to have more than one router planes. So why not get the kit from him? So I got the Paul Sellers router plane kit, and yes, by the way, the hand tool woodworking essential hand tool woodworking book by Paul Sellers, I got that, and I go through that a lot of times. It's a wonderful book. I really love that. That's my one of my prized possessions. So I got the router plane kit from him, from his website, Rocksmith, and built this router plane. So these knobs I got from, I think I got from Lee Valley, and this is ash again. Like I tend to use this more than the Veritas router plane. This came out super good. I really like it. Again, the touch that I have, I mean, my touch, meaning like I have made it. It feels so wonderful. Like, and if you make your own tools, you get to learn about the tool so much more that it's worth it. I also have spoke shave, like a vintage Stanley 51 spoke shave, or 151, I believe that's the number. I should have somewhere here, which I use a lot. But then I saw like wooden spoke shaves, which Paul Sellers shows, and then he recommended that the Veritas one, and also James Wright also recommends that's a good tool to have, kit to have. I invested on that one. Like, I bought the kit and I thought I will make one for myself, and this is what I made. So it's working really good. I have not used yet, like, on a full project, and also I'm not saying that it came out perfectly the first time. I tried using another wood and it cracked, and I had to throw it off and try it with a different piece again. This one came out very good. So this is one tool that I made. I am eagerly waiting to use it actively. Then what? Like, out of the other tools, yeah, then wooden hand planes. More recently, I also thought like I should have a couple of wooden hand planes. Now I am getting into the zone for things that I need versus things I want. I realize that the reason I wanted a wooden hand plane is that because you can sometimes get those, like, by not spending a fortune, like the Stanley metal planes. And also the fact that in my mind, I wanted to own a jointer plane. Again, I wanted to own, not that I needed, because a lot of wood I can dimension roughly, and then the number 5 and 5.5 I have more than enough. And I also have a low angle, which I mostly use for end grain planing, really. But I wanted to own a wooden plane, and also I thought like I could probably have a jointer plane from the wooden one, because the wood, I believe, or what I understood, was that it is less chances of it warping than a metal plane. They never remain flat. They go out of flat because it has such a long sole. Obviously I didn't want to invest on a jointer plane from Veritas or Lee Nelson. Super expensive. It's not needed for me. So I got a 22-inch, like a, what do they call it, triplane or something, and I restored it. It's working very good. Do I need it? No, but I got it fairly cheap, like $30 or something, 30 or $40 max, and it works perfectly. And at the same time, I got another deal on a jack plane, like $25 or something. I also invested on that one, just to see like how this hammer tapping and all these things, how I can get a habit just for myself. I don't need it definitely, but it's so much fun to use these also. I sometimes go for it, just out of enjoyment. So yeah, I'm very happy for that. Yeah, so that's the main thing. Yes, and the big machine investment. I thought I would never invest on another like a machine. Uh, I sold my jigsaw and miter saw. First of all, table saw I could sell it. The only reason I'm not selling it is because I have invested on so many jigs and attachments of that outfit table and all I built myself. It's just like I have started having an attachment, so it's folded and kept it in a place. I'm not using it, but it's there. The one big machine that I invested on is a bandsaw. Why I did that? Again, Paul Seller's recommendation that for a hand tool woodworker, that could be a very good addition. May not be an absolute necessity, but yeah, what I felt was that when I have to do a lot of ripping and resawing, especially, I used to like it's very hard for me to use just this Spear and Jackson saws that I have. I'll come to those saws, by the way. That's also one more point. So I could not do that. I used to sometimes rely on my table saw and planer, actually, mostly planer. I used to waste a lot of things. Let's say I have a 1 inch stock, I just need half an inch or 3/4 inch. I used to just plane it until using my power planer until I got to the thickness. I wanted to do it all by hand. So bandsaw helps me resaw things like it takes the the main part of the like effort, donkey work, if I can say, that I could do using my bandsaw. It doesn't give the smoothest finish like table saw, but I don't need that. I can get a smooth finish or the accurate finishing using my planes. The bandsaw helps me get the resawing and rough cut, and it's way safer than table saw because the blade goes down. Still a power tool. You have to be very careful with all the protective equipments, but I feel it's very safe compared to a table saw. So I have a 14-inch bandsaw. I invested last Black Friday. I got a Rikon 14-inch bandsaw. The only reason being Rikon was having a sale, and it's such a simple machinery that yes, there are good and better brands, and but I don't think anything would really fail there. They're mostly more or less made around the similar place or market. This works very good for me, the Rikon bandsaw, and I reach out for that one most often, like for repeat cutting and dimensioning, if I say. And resawing aspect actually saves me a lot of money also. I have seen, because when I have started making fine furniture using premium wood like oak, walnut, cherry, or anything premium, I can resaw it and keep the remaining pieces. Like I don't have to just throw those as chips through my planer. So that really helps me, and it helps me get into my hand tool work, meaning I resaw it, bring it back up here, use my winding sticks or whatever, like just to do the final touch. So yeah, the bandsaw I have kept on the other. That is the machine that I use the most. Power planer, I have reached to that a few times, a couple of times when I have to, let's say, make a bigger project like the bedside cabinet, where I have to dimension like say 10-15 pieces of uh, boards or slabs. I do completely by hand, like 2 or 3 pieces, and the remaining I put into the planer. I want to stop that habit, but I want to completely rely on bandsaw and my hand tools. So I will get there, I'm pretty sure. I want to dispose of the planer also, power planer. I don't use it, it's just consuming the space here. So yeah, I was telling about the hand saws. Now the only hand saws that I have are all these Spear and Jackson brands, and you can see that all these handles are like shaped. So I watched Paul Seller's videos, and they are shaped as per like how he suggested, like rounding of these things, and they work like they are much more premium than they are. Obviously, it can't match the custom made vintage handles that we have, but they are very good. And these saws are really good. Like the steel is super quality. I have learned sharpening by my hand using these. So they have worked perfectly fine for me. All my saws are actually sharpened in the rip pattern because that is the easier one to do. And I'm yet to try my hand on a crosscut sharpening. And to be frank, I have not needed that, but I also want to learn that, just to learn the art of sharpening. So yeah, like all my smaller saws, like this is tenon saw, and the most expensive saw I have is the Veritas dovetail saw. This is again, they have a 17 or 19 TPI, and this one is the 14 TPI. I got this 14 TPI because this is easier to resharpening by hand, and also Paul Sellers says that. So I have resharpened it a couple of times. Came out very good. I have a few 10 TPI and 7 TPI Spear and Jackson saws. Again, shaped the handles for myself. This is great to practice sharpening, and these are like, I think they have been, they have worked for me. I have no reason to not believe that they won't last me a lifetime. These are lifetime saws. I don't want to invest on any more expensive. I do get tempted to invest on like more expensive dovetail saws and tenon saws sometime, because back saws, it's just because I want to than I need to. But they are so expensive that it's been more than 6 months I have been thinking and dropping that idea. Lee Nelson or a Bad Axe Toolworks, they're doing really good work, but do I really need those? No, definitely not. I don't think so. Combination squares and all, I started with cheaper ones, but then I invested on a Starrett. Starrett is like the pinnacle. I have used it. It's super good. And then I got this PEC one because I needed a second one because I tend to misplace the other one. So this is a blemished PEC which I got from Harry J. Epstein. Their store, they have like blemished squares which work perfectly. I think the rule is a blemish and this one is the original one, but perfectly fine. I'm ordering a 6-inch one also because $40 is like, it's a great deal. It's a blemished one that I have. Paul Sellers recommended chisel hammer. Perfect. Like I'm pretty sure I've forgotten a lot of things. Like most of the things I have are from Paul Sellers. One thing I wanted to mention was that for saw sharpening, I did build those like simple like saw chucks that Paul Sellers says. Like I use that, like just like a stick ribbed in between. You put the saw in between, clamp them in the vise, and do your sharpening. Works perfectly fine. That's the easiest way to do it. I did that a couple of times. Then I wanted to like sharpen saws at my height. So obviously you need a vise for that, dedicated vise for that. I saw a lot of vintage ones. They are good. But then I found James Wright has a vise that looks really good and he made it by himself. So I took that plan. I wanted to build one for myself just so that I would enjoy it, and I built one. So here it is. It looks very nice with this hand screws. So that I wooden screws that I again bought the threading and all. I clamp it in. This is made like for the dimension of my vise. If I clamp it in, like basically I pull this in, this goes in, and I can clamp my saws. So really nice to have this because I made it. Uh, so so yeah, and that's it. So I don't know what else to say. I have a bullnose plane. These are all my number 4. Yeah, another thing that I made was when I started with dovetails, I did have those Veritas dovetail markers, which are phenomenal. They are perfect. I mean, they are simple too. You can't go wrong. They just are like, if they are machined accurately, they are pretty good. So I use those. But then I came across like videos from Paul Sellers where he makes his own dovetail templates. I thought I will make those because they so look so wonderful, and again, making your own jigs and tools. So I made this set of 3 dovetail templates as per Paul Sellers design. They look super cool. I made with walnut and cherry, and I use this all the time. No more of those. I mean, they work equally well, and these are the ones I made. So if some things you make, it's so much more enjoyable. So that's the reason I made this. So yeah, so more or less those are my tools. rag in a can oiler. Thanks. This is wonderful. This is super good. Uh, I have those wheel marking gauges. Like I already bought one from Veritas, but I never use that. I like using these marking gauges more. The simple ones with a pin, because most of the time when I go across the grain where those wheel marking gauges may come handy, I just use my combination square and the knife, again Stanley knife that Paul Seller recommends. Super good, cool tool. And these one along the grain, they work much better, and I have got my hand set and I can do it much better. So yeah, see you in the next video. What I'm working on right now is the TV stand that Paul Sellers has. I have already made a few panels of that. I have not recorded, but I'm hoping to record a few more videos of that to show my journey. Again, my YouTube, like, this is not like, I'm not starting it as a channel for business or anything. Maybe someday I would be like, but right now it's more about like, I'm so happy for this journey that I wanted to record it, record my journey. A lot of times camera angle, the voice and everything will not be accurate. That is because of my sheer lack of experience, but I hope that I will slowly get better. And of course, the Paul Sellers and people like him are the masters. And if you one has to truly learn something, it's their videos, no doubt about that. I am a subscriber of Woodworking Masterclass, and I really enjoy those. But I believe if I can, like, uh, it's the responsibility on us also to keep that whatever he is like teaching us, or uh, the ideologies, the art, everything like that he's teaching us, it is little bit of our responsibility to carry it forward, whatever we do. So yeah, for me to record, like, if I can be of any value to anyone else in starting this journey, like, I hope they can learn from, at least learn that aspect, that if someone like me can learn this so quick from him, like, maybe, and what mistakes I make, maybe, and how I follow the good things from him, and what are the mistakes I make. Yeah, it's fine. Like, as long as it's helpful for everyone. Like, and I just want to record it for for myself and everyone else. Yeah. So see you in the next video. Again, see, my face wasn't even clear when I was explaining it. So yeah, see you in the next video. Hopefully, one of the sessions I will go over like the TV console, and see you there. Thank you.